Okay, in our last two classes, we talk about the slope of a line. Okay, so let's consider we have a straight line. Okay, and let's take any 2 point of this straight line. So we have a 1 point on the straight line. The coordinate of the point is x1, y1. Okay, and we have another point with a coordinate x2, y2. So if we have a 2 point on the line, then we can find the slope of the line, and the slope of the line, which is m, is given by difference of y coordinate, which is y2 minus y1, over difference of x coordinate, which is x2 minus x1, or slope is rise over run. Okay, so in order to find the slope, you must have at least 2 points. And the next thing, we had the equation of a line. Okay, so we have a two different type of the equation of a line. So we have a slope intercept form. So we have y equals to mx plus b. So this is our slope intercept form. So we have a slope m, okay, and we have a y intercept b. So this is our slope intercept form. Okay, and we use this equation to find the equation of a line, or we can also use this slope intercept form to find the slope as well as y intercept. Okay, and the next we have slope point form. So we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and this is slope point form or point slope form. So we have a slope m here and a point x1, y1. So this is slope point form. Okay, so we're gonna use these two equations to find the equation of a line. Okay, and next we had the equation of a vertical line. So if we have a vertical line, so let's say we have this vertical line, the slope for the vertical line m is undefined, right? So let me use infinity, which is undefined. Slope for every vertical line is undefined, and every vertical line has the equation of this form: x equals to a number, or x equals to x intercept. Okay, so this is the equation of a vertical line. If we have a horizontal line, let's say this is the horizontal line. The horizontal line has a slope m equals to 0. Okay, every horizontal line has a slope m equals to 0, and the equation, the general equation for the horizontal line is y equals to y intercept. Let's call y intercept is b. So this is the equation for the horizontal line. Okay, so this is what we had in our last two classes. Now let's continue. So the next what we have here is that now the slope of parallel lines and the perpendicular lines. Now let's take, we have two lines and which are parallel to each other. So what kind of line are the parallel? So what kind of lines are the parallel? Have you seen the parallel lines?
Yes.
Can you just define, like, can you just tell me what it is?
Two lines that are like two, I will never cross.
Okay, yes.
Same slope.
So when you extend your line on a both ends, they never intersect, right? So let's take a two different line here. So we have this line 1, let me call this L1 for the, and we have the line 2. So we have these two different line, and when you extend these two line on the both ends, right end or left ends, like all the way to the infinity, it never intersect. Then these lines are the parallel lines. Okay, now in terms of slope, let's call the m1 is a slope for a L1 line, and m2 is a slope for L2 line. So if the lines are parallel, then their slope is always equal to each other. Okay, so if we have a parallel lines, then the slope of the parallel lines are always equals to each other. So here our m1 is equals to m2. Okay, the slope of our two lines, they are equals to each other only when they are parallel to each other. Okay, or the other way, if the lines are parallel to each other, their slopes are equals. The slope has to be same if the lines are parallel. Okay, so every parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, now what about the perpendicular lines? What kind of line are the perpendicular line? they do intersect. Now, do we have to have a specific angle of the intersection, or it can be any angle? Okay, so I have a two option for you. So I have these two different lines intersecting, okay, and I have this one. So are both of these perpendicular lines? Okay, so if this is, okay, let me call this is A and this is B. So if both of these are not perpendicular, which one is perpendicular? So to be perpendicular, the angle between these two lines has to be always 90 degree. Okay, if any two lines they are intersecting exactly at 90 degree, then they are perpendicular. When the lines are parallel, the angle is 0. They do not intersect, so angle is 0. But when the lines are perpendicular, the angle between these two lines is always 90 degree. Okay, now here, so in the first, the angle, this is not 90 degree, okay, but this angle is 90 degree. So these two lines are perpendicular. Okay, so if we have two lines and they are intersecting exactly at 90 degree, then they are the perpendicular. What can we say about the x-axis and y-axis? Are they parallel or perpendicular? They are perpendicular, right? So this is our x-axis. So here x-axis is the horizontal line and we have y-axis the vertical line, and these two are the perpendicular line. Now if these two are perpendicular, so let me call this is line 1, this is line 2, and m1 is a slope for a line 1, and we have a m2 as a slope for second line. Now if these two are perpendicular, then when you multiply the slope of these two lines, when you multiply slope of these two perpendicular line m1 times m2, this has to be always equals to -1. Okay, if the lines are perpendicular and you multiply their slope, the product has to be -1, then only it is perpendicular. If you get the product other than -1, then they are not perpendicular. It has to be always -1. The product has to be -1 if the lines are perpendicular. Okay, so when the slope is equals to each other, the lines are parallel. Okay, so the lines are parallel when slope is equals to each other, and when the product is -1, then the lines are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so this is how we can know, even with the help of slope, we can find whether the lines are parallel or perpendicular. If the slope is equal, they are parallel. If the product of slope is -1, then they are perpendicular. Now let's use this concept for our example here. So we need to find the equation of a line. Okay, so let me draw that line. Okay, now this is our line, and we need to find the equation of this line. And this line is parallel to 2x minus y equals to 1. So here, so we are trying to find the equation of this line. Okay, we are trying to find the equation of this line, and we know this line is parallel to 2x minus y equals to 1. So this is a straight line. So let me draw that line here. Since it's a parallel, so we draw a parallel line, and the equation of this line is 2x minus y equals to 1. Okay, and the next thing, this line is passing through 2, -3. Now what does that mean by passing through 2, -3? Where do we find that 2, -3 point? So in which line? Okay, let me call this is line 1. Okay, this is our second line. Now where do we find this point? Is it on the first line or a second line? Now let's read on one more time. Okay, so here we need to find the equation of a line, okay, parallel to this line, and passing through 2, -3. So which line has a point 2, -3? The first one or second one? Okay, so let me draw this picture one more time. Okay, so here let's start from the scratch. So we are asked to find the equation of a line, right? So we are asked to find the equation of a line, and let me draw that line. So the line is this one. We are trying to find the equation of this line. Okay, and this line is parallel to 2x minus y equals to 1. So parallel means we draw a parallel line, and this line is 2x minus y equals to 1. Okay, and this equation, this line is passing through 2, -3. Now which line has a 2, -3 point, the red or black? Red, right? So we are trying to find the equation of a line parallel to this black line and passing through a point 2, -3. Let's say this point is 2, -3. Okay, we need to find the equation of red line here, and this red line is parallel to our black line, which is 2x minus y equals to 1. Now since they are parallel, what do we know about their slope? The slope has to be same, right? Now, okay, is there any way to find a slope for our black line? How do we find the slope of this line? Yes, so if you are given an equation of a line, and in order to find the slope, we rewrite this equation in a slope intercept form. Okay, slope intercept form is we rewrite this line in y equals to mx plus b form. Okay, or we are solving this equation for y. So our equation is 2x minus y equals to 1. We solve this equation for y. Okay, we're gonna solve for equation y. Solving for y means you're gonna make y by itself. Now let's get rid of positive 2x. So we subtract 2x on both sides. Okay, so we have positive 2x, negative 2x cancel. So we have negative y equals to negative 2x positive 1. We still have negative in the front. We need to get rid of this negative in the front. So we multiply both sides by negative 1. So let's multiply both sides of the equation by negative 1. Okay, so on the right side we have to distribute this negative 1 for negative 2x as well as positive 1, and this is negative 1 times y, that is positive y, equals to negative 1 times negative 2x, that is positive 2x, negative 1 times positive 1, that is negative 1. So in order to find the slope of a line from its equation, you solve the equation for y, and the coefficient of x, okay, is the slope. See, so this is our slope intercept form, and the coefficient of x, is the slope. So whatever coefficient you have for x is your slope. So from our slope intercept form, we know m is the coefficient of x, which is 2. So slope is 2, and this slope is for our black line. Okay, so m equals to 2 for the black line. Now what will be the slope for red line? It will be 2, because these two are parallel. Okay, if we have a parallel line, then the slope is same. So the slope for red line is also 2. Now we need to find the equation. So we have a point, okay, and we have a slope. So if we have a point and a slope, what do we use to find the equation of a line? We have two options. One option is using this slope intercept form, and the second option is using point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, which one do we use here to find the equation of a red line? Point intercept, slope intercept form, or a point slope form? In order to use the intercept form, we don't know what is b. Okay, so we can't use first one, so let's use second one. Okay, let's call our 2 as a x1, 3 as a y1. Now here we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We know x1, y1 and m. Let's substitute. So we have y as it is. Our y1 is negative 3. So we have negative 3 equals m. Slope is 2. X minus x1 is 2. Now let's simplify this. So we have y, negative times negative 3, positive 3 equals to, so we distribute 2 here. So you distribute 2 for x as well as negative 2. So we have 2 times x, 2x, 2 times negative 2, that is negative 4. Now let's get rid of positive 3 from left side. So we subtract 3 on both sides. And we have our final equation, y equals to this cancel. 2x minus 7, and this is the equation of a line. Okay, and this equation, this line is parallel to our 2x minus y equals to 1. So you are given a point, you are given an equation, so you find the slope of a line, okay, and you use the same slope for the line that we are trying to find the equation, okay, since they are parallel, we use the same slope. Okay, do you have any question on this one? Now let's go to the next example. It's pretty similar. The only difference is we are given with a perpendicular line. Okay. Now next example, we need to find the equation of a line. Okay. Let's draw that line is okay. So we are trying to find the equation of this red line. Okay. And this line is perpendicular to 2x plus 3y minus 1 equals to 0. Okay. So this red line is perpendicular to this line. So let's draw a perpendicular line. So we have this perpendicular line. Okay, the angle has to be 90 degree, and this line is 2x plus 3y minus 1 equals to 0. Okay, these two are perpendicular and passing through 4, negative 1. So our red line is passing through a point 4, negative 1. So let's say this point is 4, negative 1. So here we need to find the equation of a red line. Okay, this red line is perpendicular to our black line, which is 2x plus 3y minus 1 equals to 0, and the red line is passing through 4, negative 1. Now since these two are perpendicular, what do we know about their slope? These two are perpendicular. Okay, we have the red and black line, these are perpendicular to each other. So what do we know about their slope? Now slope is negative 1, or the product of their slope is negative 1. Okay, so let me call the slope of red line is m1. Okay, and let me call the slope of black line is m2. Since these two are perpendicular, what do we know is that when you multiply the slope of red line and a slope of black line, we always get negative 1 because these two are perpendicular. Okay, now is there any way to find the slope of black line? Can we find the slope of black line? So our line is given as, so we know the line is 2x plus 3y minus 1 equals to 0. How do we find the slope for this line? So you are given an equation of a line and you are asked to find the slope, and the process is you are solving this equation for y. So let's solve this equation for y. Okay, so in order to solve this equation for y, we subtract 2x on both sides. Okay, we add 1 on both sides. Okay, so positive 2x, negative 2x cancel, negative 1, positive 1 cancel. So we have 3y equals to negative 2x positive 1. Now we still have 3 in front of y. So let's get rid of 3. So for that we divide by 3. Make sure you are dividing every term on both sides. Okay. So 3y divided by 3, we have y equals to negative 2 over 3 x plus 1 over 3. Okay. And the coefficient of x. So the coefficient of x is negative 2 over 3, and this is a slope m2. Okay, so this is a slope for our vertical line. So our m2 is negative 2 over 3. So our slope of a vertical line, slope of our black line is negative 2 over 3. Now with this one, let's find the slope of our red line. Now what should be the slope of a red line? We know their product has to be negative 1. Now what should be the slope of red line? So that the product of slope of red line and a black line is negative 1. So what we can do is that we can substitute this m2 equals to negative 2 over 3 in this relation. Okay, so let's go back to m1 times m2. So we know m1 times m2, the product of the slope of these two lines is always -1. Okay, slope of red line, we don't know what is that 8, but we know the slope of vertical line, which is -2/3 equals to -1. Now from here, how do we solve this? How do we solve this equation for m1? So at first we need to get rid of denominator. So how do we get rid of this 3 denominator? You multiply both sides by 3. Okay, so the denominator and this numerator cancel. This is 3. Okay, we have m1 times -2 equals -3. Now we need to get rid of -2, so you divide both sides by -2. So -2 cancel, and we have slope of red line m1 is -3 divided by -2, that is +3/2. So this is the slope of our red line. Okay, so slope m1 is 3/2. So you find the slope of this perpendicular line, the vertical line. Okay, the slope of a vertical line is 3/2, and once you have the slope of a vertical line, you have to find the slope of the other line using m1 times m2 equals to -1. Okay, now we are not done yet. We are given a point here, and we know the slope, and we are asked to find the equation of a line. So in order to find the equation of line, we use the same process. We use the point slope form. Okay, so at the end, so here we're gonna use point slope form. Y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. Okay, so let's call this is our x1 y1 point, and slope is 3/2. Now let's substitute. So we have y as it is. Y1 is -1 equals, our slope is 3/2, x minus x1 is 4. Now we simplify this. We have y negative times -1, +1 equals to, we distribute here. Okay, so you distribute 3/2 for x as well as for -4. So 3/2 times x, that is 3/2x negative 3/2 times 4. Okay, now let's solve this for y. So in order to solve for y, we subtract 1 on both sides. Okay, I'm going to use this space here. So from here, so we have y equals to, so this +1 -1 cancel. So we have y equals to 3/2x negative. So -3 times 4, that's -12 divided by 2 minus 1. So we have 3/2x, that's -6, -1. So our equation is y equals to 3/2x minus 7. So this is the equation of our line that we are looking for. So 3/2x minus 7. This is the final equation of a line. And this line is perpendicular to line 2x plus 3y minus 1. So in order to find the equation of a line, we need a point which is given to you, and we need a slope. Okay, and in both of these cases, we have to find the slope from a given line. Okay, if the lines are parallel, you're gonna use the same slope. If the lines are perpendicular, then you're gonna find the slope that such that the product of the slope of two lines is -1. Okay. Okay, let's do this example 3, then we'll just practice similar problem from our homework. Okay, so here in next example, so in 2010 there were 1400 Canada geese in a wildlife refuge. In 2016 their population increased to 1820, and we are asked to write the equation of a population of a Canada geese. Okay, so we are asked to write down the equation for the population of Canada is y, okay, in terms of x, and x is the number of years since 2010. So we know in 2010, okay, in 2010 there were 1400 gates, okay, so we had 1400 gates. In 2016 the number of gates increased to 1820. So in 2010 the number of gates is 1400 and it increased to 1820 in 2016. Now, so that's what we are given to us. Now in number A, it tells us to write the equation for the population of Canada geese, y. Okay, so y is the population of Canada geese. Okay, now here, which is y here? So is 2010 y or 1400 or 1820 or 2016? What is y? How they have defined y as?
Population of geese.
So y is the population of geese, right? So 1400, 1820, these are y. Okay, so this is our y here. Now what about x? So how they have defined x? So x is the number of years since 2010. So x is the number of years since 2010. So if this is the case, what will be x for 2010? So our x is the number of years since 2010. So if that is the case, what will be x for the year 2010? So x is the number of years after 2010. Okay, that's how we define the x, number of year after 2010. If that is the case, what is the number of year after 2010 for the year 2010? It's a 0 year, right? It's the same year, so our x is 0. And what about for 2016? What is the number of years after 2010 for 2016? 6. So x is 6 for 2016. So we have x, okay, 0. So when x is 0, our y is 1400. When x is 6, our y is 1820. And we are asked to write down the equation of the population. Okay, so here, so these are the 2 points given to us, and we are asked to write down the equation, the linear equation. Okay, and in order to write the equation, what we need, how do we write down the equation of a line? So we have always, it's always 2. Okay, so if you are asked to write down the equation of a line, you have the first option to use the slope intercept form, y equals to mx plus b. The second, you can also use the slope point form, y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. So every time if you are asked to write down the equation, these are the only 2 options that you're going to use, slope intercept form or point slope form. Now let's take one each. Now if we have slope intercept form, so at what condition we can use slope intercept form? If we know slope and the y-intercept. Now, do we know slope here? Or can we find slope? So we have 2 points. Okay, so these are 2 points. So do not get confused. So here this is your 1 point and this is the other point. Okay, so we have the 2 points. We can find the slope. Now what about the y-intercept? Do we have y-intercept? Do we have y-intercept? So what is the condition for the y-intercept? If x coordinate is 0, if we have any point with x coordinate 0, then that is the y-intercept. Now do we have any point with x equals to 0? Yes, right, 0, 1400. So 1400 is your b. So this is our b. Okay, so this is the y-intercept. Now let's find slope. So let me rewrite these 2 points. We have 0 and 1400. This is 1 point. And the other point is 6, 18, 20. Let's find the slope. In order to find slope, slope is difference of y coordinate divided by difference of x coordinate. So let's call this is x1, y1 and this is x2, y2. So difference of y coordinate is 1820 y2 minus y1, that is 1400, divided by x2, that is 6, minus x1, that is 0. Okay, now what is 1820 minus 1400? It's 420 divided by 6 minus 0 is 6, and 420 divided by 6, that is 70. So our slope is 70. Okay, now let's take this slope intercept form and we get the equation. So for a, y equals to slope is 70, x plus our y intercept is, so this is our y intercept. Okay, our y intercept is this one, 1400. Okay, so let's substitute that, plus 1400, and this is the equation which give us the number of population of the geese. You find the slope, okay, since we know the y-intercept, and you substitute b in the slope intercept form and we get the equation. Okay, let's go to the next one. In number b, we are asked what are the slope and y-intercept, okay, and what do they represent. Okay, now can you tell me what are the slope and y-intercept for this equation? What is the slope m? The coefficient of x, which is 70, right? And the constant y-intercept is 1400. Now what do they mean? What does it mean by having a slope is 70 in this scenario?
It's the increase of the population of geese.
So our slope is positive, right? It means the line is going up. It means the number of geese is increasing. Okay, now how it's increasing? So slope is 70. So how is it increasing? So here the denominator of slope is 1, right? So as we go 1 year, like from 2010, the number of geese increased by 70. That's what we can tell from this slope. Okay, so this is the run. Your denominator is run, okay, and this numerator is the rise. So in the rise we have the number of geese, in the run we have the number of years. So as we move 1 year, or as we go 1 year from 2010, the number of geese increased by 70. So if that is the case, what will be the population of geese in 2011? Can you tell me the population of geese in 2011?
1470.
So every year it increases by 70. So in 2010 it was 1400, in 2011 is 1400 plus 70, that is 1470. So every year the number of geese increase by 70. Okay, and what can we know about what this y-intercept tells us? So what is this 1400? So what kind of information can we get from this y-intercept?
The population in 2010.
1400 is the population in the year 2010. So y-intercept give us the population of geese in 2010. That's 1400. Slope give us the number of geese that increase every year. Okay. And the last is, when will the goose population reach 1960? Okay. Now we need to find the year that the number of geese reached to 1960. That's for number C. Now what is that 1960 in our equation? So our equation is y equals to 70x plus 1400. Now what is this 1960? Is it x or y? Okay, now if we go back to number A, our y is the population of geese. Okay, that's given to us. So here our y is the population of geese. X is the number of years. So our y is 1960 and we are asked to find x. So let's substitute y equals to 1960 for y and we find x. So we have 70x plus 1400. So we are given y, which is 1960, and we are asked to find x. Now this is a linear equation. Okay, let's solve this linear equation. We're solving for x. So for that we subtract 1400 on both sides. 1960 minus 1400, that is 560. divided by this 1400, negative 1400 cancel, 70x. Now let's get rid of 70. You divide both side by 70, and 560 divided by 70, that is 8, equals to x. So from here, x is 8. Now can you tell me what year is that? 2018. So the very starting year is 2010, and the 8th year after 2010 is 2018. So in the year 2018, the number of geese will be 1960. Okay, so 2018 is the final answer. So in the year 2018, the number of geese will be 1960. So we can use this linear equation to predict. Now, can you just predict the number of geese in 2025? So it's 2024 now. So in this, okay, with the help of this data, can you tell me what would be the number of geese in 2025? So we know the population of geese in 2010 is 1400. Now if it increases in this ratio, what will be the population for the year 2025? Now we have to find x for 2025. So what is the number of year since 2010 for the year 2025? 15, right? So your x is 15. So you substitute x equals to 15 in equation A. So we have 70 times 15 plus 1400. So what is that equals to? 70 times 15 plus 1400. 2450. Okay, so the number of geese will be 2450 in the year 2025. Okay, so the linear equation, we can use the linear equation to make a prediction. Okay, or we can just make it may not be 100% accurate, but we can make a close prediction with the help of the linear equation. Okay. Okay, now so this is all for the section 2.2. Okay, now we'll go back to our exercise and do some homework.